Welcome back. In our last explainer, we dove headfirst into the chaos of modern software, a world where our smartest, most advanced programs were constantly breaking for the silliest reasons.
Remember that whole problem of environment drift? The idea that a piece of software works perfectly fine on one computer, but the moment you move it to another, it just falls apart. This wasn't a small issue. It was a massive headache, causing delays and frustration all across the tech world. And it all came down to this one infamous phrase. But it works on my machine wasn't just some lazy excuse. Nope, it was a symptom of a really deep, fundamental problem with how we were building and shipping software. The industry needed more than just a quick fix. It needed a revolution. So, this was the billion-dollar question. How in the world do you take an entire software environment, I'm talking the code, all the little libraries it depends on, the specific settings, and package it all up into one neat little bundle that just works, anywhere, every single time? Well, the answer to that question changed everything.
To really wrap our heads around this digital revolution, we actually need to look at a physical one first, one that literally transformed global trade and, basically made the modern world we live in possible. So, picture this. Before the 1950s, shipping stuff across the ocean was a total nightmare. You had loose sacks, weirdly shaped barrels, custom crates. It was slow, expensive, and a logistical mess. And then someone invented the standardized shipping container. All of a sudden, it didn't matter if you were shipping bananas or engine parts. Everything just went into the exact same metal box.
And that is the big aha moment. The real breakthrough wasn't about the cargo inside, it was about standardizing the box on the outside. Docker took that exact same brilliant idea and applied it to software. It created a standard box, a container, that holds an application and everything it needs. The computers moving it around don't need to know what's inside, they just need to know how to handle the box. Now, this is where a lot of people get tripped up. When you hear isolated environment, your brain might immediately jump to virtual machines, or VMs. And that's fair. But Docker containers are a completely different beast and way, way more efficient. Let's break down why. Just look at the difference here. It's pretty staggering. A virtual machine is basically pretending to be an entire separate computer. That means each one needs its own full operating system, which is why they're huge. We're talking gigabytes, and they take forever, like minutes, to start up. Containers, though, they're much smarter. They all share the main operating system of the host computer. They only package the app itself, making them tiny, just megabytes, and they can start up in the blink of an eye. Honestly, this is the perfect way to think about it. A VM is like building a whole new house from scratch. It's got its own foundation, its own plumbing, everything. It works, but it's heavy and resource-intensive. Containers are like apartments in a big building. They all share that same core foundation, the host OS, which makes them incredibly lightweight and lets you pack way more of them onto a single machine. Okay, so we've got our standardized box, and we understand it's like an apartment, not a house. But to really get Docker, we need to know about its two most fundamental parts, the image and the container. They're connected, for sure, but they are not the same thing. First, you have the Docker image. Think of this as the master blueprint. It's a static, unchangeable template that has everything your app needs to run. The code, the tools, the settings, all of it. It's like a recipe for a cake or maybe an MP4 file on your computer. It just sits there, waiting. And then you have the Docker container. A container is what happens when you take that image and bring it to life. It's a running, active instance. It's what you get when you actually follow the recipe and bake the cake, or when you double-click that movie file and hit play. The container is the application actually doing its thing. So the key difference here, the thing you really got to remember, is whether it can be changed. The image is immutable. It's read-only. That's what guarantees every container started from it will be identical. The container, however, can be changed. It has a writable layer on top so your app can do its work. This means you can build one perfect image and then launch hundreds or even thousands of identical containers from it. So why does any of this matter? Well, because this whole blueprint and instance setup solves one of the most painful, frustrating problems in tech, especially for anyone working in AI and data science. You see, AI models are, well, they're picky. They often need very specific versions of Python or libraries like TensorFlow, and especially specific versions of the CUDA toolkit to talk to the GPUs. Before Docker, trying to get all this stuff to play nice on one machine was an absolute nightmare. You'd install something for one project, and it would completely break another one. We call this dependency hell.
This table just lays it all out, the clear before and after. With Docker, every project gets its own perfect, isolated little world. Need a specific version of CUDA? No problem. Just pack it inside the container, totally separate from the main machine. That whole "it works on my machine" problem, it just vanishes, because the container is the machine, and it works exactly the same everywhere it goes. What this gives us is perfect reproducibility. A data scientist can package up their entire experiment, the code, the data, the exact library versions, into a single Docker image. Then anyone else in the world can take that image, run it, and get the exact same results. It's a game changer. So by now, you can probably see how elegant this is. Docker takes all the chaos of software environments and neatly packs it away into a predictable, portable box. But here's the twist. In solving one massive problem, Docker accidentally created an entirely new one on a much, much bigger scale. So to recap, we now have this incredible superpower. We can package any application, no matter how complex, and know for a fact that it will run anywhere. From a single laptop to a giant cloud server, we've achieved total consistency. But what happens next? And this is a question that sets us up for our final explainer. It's one thing to have a perfect shipping container, but what happens when you have 1 million of them spread across thousands of ships all over the world? How do you manage all that? Who runs the port? In our final part, we're going to find the answer, the system that took Docker's simple idea and used it to build the very backbone of the modern cloud. See you then.